Okay, today what we're looking at, again, we're going back to composite shapes, but this time we're going to find the area of them. So remember, a composite shape is a shape that consists of more than one regular shape. Okay, so again, what I've done is I've given us a formula sheet, and again, I've just looked at the formulas we're going to be working with. Again, it's a rectangle, a parallelogram, or a triangle. And our steps again is to determine the shapes. Notice it's plural this time because it's composite. Look at the formula sheet, which we're going to do, and then determine the area of each shape, and then we're either going to add the shapes together or you might have to subtract the areas. It's going to depend on the actual question. So let's look at our examples. The first one says find the area of this. Okay, so it kind of looks like a stick house. So when I'm looking at that, I can see that there are two shapes. The one shape, it appears, is this rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to call that shape 1. And then the other shape I see is a triangle, and so I'm going to call that shape 2. So I literally am going to label them shape 1 and 2 because it makes it easier for me to figure out what to do. So shape 1. When I look at shape 1, it appears to be a rectangle. Now I'm just going to write that down because then I'm going to go and look at my formula sheet and see what it says about a rectangle. And I need to bring it down. It says it is length times width. So I'm going to write down my formula. So my area equals length times width. And if you look at my picture, I have length and I have width. So I have 11 times the 9, which is 99 inches. Then I need to look at the second shape, and that's that green shape. And the green shape is a triangle. So I'm just going to write triangle. Okay, you don't have to use those words. It just makes it easier for me to show you. Again, I go back up to the formula sheet, and here's, remember, there's 2 for the triangle, and you get to choose which one you want. So this time I'm going to use 1/2 the base of my triangle. Oh, I don't know. What is it? Well, my base of my triangle is this whole distance here. Well, that length is the same length as my rectangle. Cool. So that means I can use the number 11. And the height, and remember it has to be that perpendicular height. Okay, so I'm looking for that right angle. There it is. And I didn't want it to be that. And so I can see this height here is 4 inches. So now I substitute 4 in here. So I take my calculator or I do it in my head, either way, and I end up with 22 inches. Now I'm not quite done because if I look at step number 3, it says add or subtract the areas. Well, this one, it looks like I'm supposed to add them all. So I'm going to put to the side then area equals number 1 plus number 2. And number 1 was 99 and number 2 was 22. And again, I either am going to take my calculator or I'm going to do it in my head. And we get 121, and it is inches, and it's squared. Did anyone catch my error? Here's my error. It was 99 inches squared. It was 22 inches squared. Okay, so just remember that part, because even I sometimes forget. Okay, so let's see. We'll do one more, possibly. All right, so I think it's just going to be this one. I do have more examples, but I want you to have time to do work. You don't need to hear me yapping and yapping. So this time, oh, it looks like I have 2 shapes. And the shapes I have, it looks like inside here is a rectangle. And the big one is also a rectangle. Okay, so it looks like I have 2 rectangles, and I've used that formula already before, so that's fine. So what I'm after here is I'm after this shaded portion. So I'm just after this gray part. Now, even though I have 2 shapes, it's very different than the question before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find that area of, and I'm just going to take this magic pen, the whole area of this, and then I'm going to subtract the white area. So again, I have two areas, and I'm going to label them as such. I have 1 and I have 2. If I find the area of the first one, it's a rectangle, and it is length times width, which you can see is going to be the 50 times the 25, which is 1250 meters squared. I remember this time. My second one is also a rectangle, and I'm going to use black for it. And it also has an area of length times width, and its length is 30 and its width is 10, and that equals 300 meters squared. So if I want that gray shaded part, I could say total area again, and remember it's the total area they want me to find. I'm going to take that first one and I'm going to subtract the second one. Okay, so remember we found all of the first one, and now we're going to subtract the white part. Okay, so when we do that, we end up with, and I'm just going to make it a little higher for you to see, 1250 minus 300 for a grand total of 950, and it's meters squared. So you have some fun trying some questions out yourself now.